What's up guys, Sound Alchemist is back at it again, bringing you 40 facts on the Warhammer 40k universe. This time it is part 3, the ending to part 2 of the Gathering Storm, the Fracture of Biel-Tan. So I want you guys to let me know how you guys think it's doing. Has this Gathering Storm progression of 40k storyline, do you think it's going in the right direction? Are you guys excited for it? And now that the Return of the Primarch has come out, I know it's fairly new, came out on Saturday, but if you guys have read it already, what do you think is going to happen? Because at the end of this book, it leaves it pretty, well, I won't spoil it, so I'll leave it at that. Anyway, we are here for part 2 of the Gathering Storm, the Eldar part, so let's continue on with the last part, part 3. Inside of the Space Hulk, it is utterly infected by the filth of Nurgle, and it is the only Corsair captain's airtight armor that stops them from falling dead from a single breath of the toxins that reside here. Resistance is light, only the occasional Nurgling, as the Corsairs have bypassed all the defenses, is what they encounter. They make their way to the Engineerium, where they find the massively bloated demon prince, Gara Google Gore. While he has super dexterous tentacles to attack with, he is so fat he can barely move. But lucky for him, his prey came right towards him. The Corsairs are able to dodge his attacks at first, but the fighting attracts more and more of Nurgle's demons, and the Corsair captains are soon hard pressed. Yariel goes all out, the Spear of Twilight destroying everything it touches. When the Demon Prince sprays a stream of vomit at him, Yariel is able to duck out of the way, but ducks straight into one of Nurgle Prince's tentacles. Instantly, he's wrapped up in the tentacle, and he is about to be devoured by the demon, but he uses his ocular implant, the Eye of Twilight, to burn himself free. Yariel is now close enough to strike, and he brings the Spear of Twilight down, but not on the demon. Instead, he strikes into the heart of the Engineerium itself. The dark energies of the spear leach towards the machinery of the Space Hulk, turning it into rust and shutting down the engines. The Space Hulk is now left unable to maneuver, thus ending its threat to Iyanden. Yariel smiles momentarily in victory, until Gara Google Gore grabs a massive spire and smashes Yariel dead with a massive blow. The Demon Prince mops up the rest of the Corsairs, but looks around in concern. He's gonna lose his standing with Grandfather Nurgle over his failure to destroy Iyanden. But he looks at the corpse of Yariel and starts chuckling. Maybe there is a way to salvage this mess. Thanks to Yariel's efforts, Iyanden has escaped the threat of Nurgle, but at a high cost. Prince Yariel's frozen body is found floating through space, and it is retrieved with great sadness. What must Iyanden do to escape this seeming curse that haunts its every move? Yariel's body is put into quarantine. The Eldar are no stranger to Nurgle's gifts, and their caution is proved prudent when Yariel's body explodes into contagions when examined by some wraith constructs. Yvraine, since freed from the house arrest, given thanks for calling in the Corsair's aid, hears of this and makes her way to the quarantine era. Holding her crone sword high, she channels the necromantic powers granted to her by Iniad into waves of lethal energy that kill off all of the spores of Nurgle released in this chamber. She then enters the chamber and grabs the Spear of Twilight. Iyanna waves off the wraiths that try to stop her. Yvraine gives Iyanna a curtsy, and she plunges the spear into Yariel's chest. Bolts of lightning come out of his body, and Yariel bolts to life. The life energy that the spear has stolen from him over the years has returned, and the spear itself transforms, and it reveals its true form, the fourth Crone Sword. Prince Yariel has now been reborn. After this display, a council is convened of the assembled Eldar forces. We must act now to change the fate of the galaxy, Eldrad says. But the great enemy is ascendant. We cannot prevail alone. Who can help us? Veil Walker asks. The Tau are still too young, the Orcs too unpredictable, and the Tyranids are simply out of the question. Humans are too easily corrupted. They are making the same mistakes we did that led to our fall. They have faith, says another Farseer, and with faith they have power. The time of their corpse god is over, says the Wraith Knight Soul Seeker. Yvraine, with Ienna at her side, speaks up. No, they must have a new leader. If we can rise a new hero that reminds them of the glory of their past, they will follow him, just as we cling to our myths. She is right, says Eldrad, and I have already foreseen of a leader that the humans will follow like sheep. We must go to the moon of Classius and meet our shared destiny. We shall give the humans a demigod, says Yariel, his chill voice sounding as if it came from the grave. A king reborn with a deathly blade, and the hosts of Ugandon shall go with us. So after this, there is another part where they go up to Kamara, and there's a bunch of stuff going on there, but I'm going to skip that. Again, if you guys want to read this, I will leave the link to this article, which was found on Daka Daka, below in the description, or simply go to your nearest GW store and cop a copy of this book. And again, there is another, I guess, interlude, so to speak, that involves Ahriman and his 1,000 sons. And there's a pretty controversial thing that happens here. I won't spoil it, but if you guys want to talk about it in the comments, I guess be my guest. So anyway, let us continue the story. The Eldar reach their destination, the portal gate to Classius, where a contingent of Imperial unknowingly approach their destiny. Meeting the Ynnari there first, though, is a contingent of witches from the Cult of Strife. Lilith Harrispax have heard of their Harlequin contacts of the Ynnari's quest, and she's sent help. If her witches report back that the Ynnari are the real deal, then Lilith too will join the ranks of the Reborn. Yvraine is pretty sure Lilith's motives are mainly selfish, immortality and all, but welcomes them with open arms. Yvraine then opens the portal to the Ice Moon, and they step through, right into the last stand of Saint Celestine, Belisarius Call, and Inquisitor Greyfax, and their allies against the dreaded Black Legion. The surprise arrival of the Ynnari is too much for Abaddon, and he is forced to retreat. The Imperial and the Eldar also retreat to safety, and a tense standoff occurs. The Imperials are nervously fingering their weapons as Celestine walks forward. Autarch Melanel of Biel-Tan steps forward as well. Greyfax's hand goes for her power sword, the Vizarch mirroring her, and suddenly bolt guns and arc rifles and shurikens are drawn and pointed. Melanel knows the humans' distrust of Farseers as manipulators and liars, and they view the Dark Eldar as evil incarnate, but perhaps they'll listen to a warrior like himself. He entreats them to listen to his words, and bows before Celestine. A moment passes before Celestine strides forward, very deliberately sheathing the ardent blade. The air is still tense, but guns are lowered slightly as Greyfax steps forward into negotiations. The Black Templars look amongst each other, almost daring another to be the first to step forward into action. But the parley holds. The Eldar offered alliance against the ruinous powers. Celestine has an idea of where they need to go, and how important it is that they deliver the cargo that Call is carrying. The Eldar are the only ones that could get them there. Through the webway, Greyfax is less trusting. They are still lying, manipulative Eldar after all, but even she agrees that they can always kill them later if necessary, after the mission is completed. Marshal Almeric eventually gets on board, though he's still vigilant for the slightest sign of trickery from these Eldar, and he orders his battle brothers to stand down. History is made as the Eldar and humans come as close to an understanding as the races have ever attained, so the two forces, Imperial and Eldar, join as one as they begin the next stage of their journey. Their destination, the realm of Ultramar, Macragge. And that concludes part 3 and the ending to the Fracture of Biel-Tan. Again guys, if you guys want the whole story, I definitely recommend getting the codex or the supplement, whatever it is you want to call it. The Gathering Storm Part 2. It's got amazing artwork, it's got great story, it's got rules, it's got freaking little missions you can do. It's pretty good. And don't forget to head on over to Daka Daka, where you could read this guy's summary if you don't want to get the book. Again, really good lore. I love it. So my question to you guys is, what do you think would happen if this actually happened, let's say, about the 30k? Would the, well, I guess they wouldn't really need to do it in 30k since the Emperor is still up and running. So never mind, guys. Forget I ever asked that. They'd probably get into a big ass fight anyway. So this is where I leave it. Thank you guys for being awesome. Thank you guys for staying through part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this lore. And keep subscribed because the Return of the Primarch has already been released. I have it in my hands. I have pre-ordered it, so I've got the minis and the book in my possession. Now the issue is, I need to paint these minis and I need to read it, but where will I find the time? Anyway guys, thanks again. As always, this is the Sound Alchemist, part of One Mind Syndicate, and I am signing out.